That is a journal I kept through all of the times that I went through rehab. I pretty much wrote in it every time I'd go back to rehab, which was like 3.5 times here in South Florida, and I would write. And I really want to get that published or made into an ebook for y'all to read. Let me know down in the comments if that would be cool, I guess. But anyways, I'm Jake. Welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of my story, and if you're jumping in on this video, I suggest going back to part 1 and 2, because it'll make a hell of a lot more sense if you do that. And so obviously I'm gonna be going along with y'all again, watching the video. Part 1, you know, was my mental illnesses, and what caused me to get to part 2 in the first place, which was to like start Relapse and actually start using, how I started using, and then this is part 3 right here. So pretty much what we're about to get into is leading off of part 2 at the end, obviously. So y'all know that it got really bad. So what ends up happening is I go back to my parents, and I'm like couch hopping at friends' house and staying with my split parents at this point. I would never stay at my mom's, but I occasionally would stay at my dad's apartment. And you know, I would dabble like with the drug when I could find it, you know. My best friend that I graduated with, the drug best friend, like was in and out of my life, but at this point he was pretty much gone for a while. Getting into this third relapse, I was just kind of doing my own thing, working, trying to go to school, but would like get caught up with other people that had the drug, but nothing serious, like no serious relapses. They were just like 1 week lapses and stuff like that. But anyways, like time after time, I would get connected with this best friend and talk occasionally, but we would never hang out. We like were our separate ways or whatever. But it got to a point where he ended up being like not back in town, but this best friend that I graduated with, that I was using with, was living out in Dallas. So when I relapsed this third time, I was having to drive out to Dallas to get stuff, and this time I didn't get involved in the game at all. I tried for a long time just to be a functioning addict and just do my own thing, and just went along with life like I would if I was sober, except I was using. And I did that for a long time, until eventually it got to the point to where I just started staying out in Dallas. I was getting hotels weekly, just staying out there, helping my friend out with making money, and just started using again. But that only lasted like 2 weeks. I mean, the using portion lasted a long, drawn out period of time, but me like just going to Dallas and staying out there in hotels and shit is probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. And at that point, this friend was ended up stopping using, and I didn't really know what to do. You know, he was always the one who, I was always the one who like gave up first, like ended up being like, I'm done, you know. But it was different this time. So he was sober, he was living back in Sherman. I went back to Sherman, I was still using, and he was like, have you ever been to a rehab? And I was like, no. And he was like, I think you should go to South Florida. And he connected me with someone, and I was on a plane the next day. So first time at rehab was March of 2016. I went there for 45 days. And I went to this place called Holistic Recovery Centers in Miami. Guys, if you need help, if you've seriously got like a drug problem, there are ways to get into rehab like without having insurance. Hell, if you need help, contact me right now. Message me, leave a comment, message me on Facebook, Instagram. All of my things are in the description. You can find me, you can message me and get a hold of me. But anyways, this 45 days at rehab for the first time, I was not serious about it. I had just experienced detox for the first time and a rehabilitation center where I'm surrounded by like-minded people that are going through the exact same thing as I am, and a lot of the people there, especially here in South Florida, sadly are just not devoted to getting better, and it's really sad. And so not wanting to be in the right state of mind yet, like I was using and pretty much hopped on a plane the next day. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I wasn't exactly ready to stop using. And so the whole entire 45 days of being at rehab the first time, I was just talking to other people about drugs and how to do stuff. And I flew back to Sherman, Texas, and I relapsed immediately. I used for like 2 weeks here and was like, that 45 days of work was just wasted because I came back and used. And so I did probably the bravest thing I've ever done my whole entire life. I knew I needed help, but I couldn't stop using. An addict or alcoholic, there's only 3 ways that they can stop using: death, institutions, or jail. So I decided to drive my car from Sherman, Texas to Miami Beach, Florida while still using and while still holding. It took me 3 days to get there. I was stopping at hotels, obviously, to use and everything. Anyways, I finally got back to the rehab that I was at, and I had some sort of higher power watching over me to drive 20 hours away while on fucking meth and not get pulled over. But when I finally got to the rehab, I parked and I was waiting for my marketer to come and pick me up. I was waiting outside of the rehab. No one was there. It was after hours. And I still had a decent amount of shit left. And I was like, I gotta get high like one more time before I go to detox again. And I ate like a big bag of meth. That's not funny, but I did, and that was like my second spiritual awakening, if you will. Actually, probably my main one, the biggest one. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever experienced because it was a higher dosage than what I'm usual. That, you know, I didn't know how it was gonna affect me eating it. You're not supposed to eat meth. Like, you don't do that. I think I overdosed. I got out of my car. It was hard to breathe. I was walking back and forth really fast, waiting for my marketer to get there. And like, usually, you know, it makes you like hot and sweaty and all of that stuff, but I was getting cold. Everything started getting cold. My vision went black. Like, I kept getting these flashes of light. I was like, what is going on? And I was just like, I was like trying to calm myself down, but I couldn't, and I was freaking out, and I had every single symptom there is for a heart attack except for the actual heart attack. The marketer finally got there and saw how fucked up I was. There was even an ambulance parked across the street in case I was to drop. But the marketer got there before the ambulance could get out of the car. And what was weird was I was trying to breathe and calm myself down, and I was just like, you know, if there's a higher power out there, if there's some sort of God or something, I could really use your help. And when I looked up in the sky, it immediately started raining. Like, started raining. It was bright and sunny. It was bright and sunny outside. And when I said that to myself, it was almost instant that it just started raining. It started pouring all over my face, and it like cooled me down even though I was going cold in the first place. But It just relaxed me. And the marketer took me to Rehab, where all of my friends from the first time I went, and they saw me, and yeah, it was embarrassing for all of them to see me like that. I was more fucked up than I had ever been my whole entire life. Even to this day, this is still one of the biggest spiritual awakenings I've ever had. Like, it's really helped me like grow to believe a higher power of my understanding, and it's just, it was crazy. I ended up getting to the rehab, and a lot of the people that I was in rehab from the first time were still there. So it was super embarrassing to go back after having been there for 45 days, you know? But that time I put in work. I did a lot of work. I was working the 12 steps. I was going to meetings. I was talking to people. I was helping others. I was journaling. I was doing everything I possibly could to better myself. And yeah, this was the journal that I was even writing in 2 years ago. Like I said, all of the rehab that I went through is in that journal. That's like one of my most prized possessions right there. But this is it. This is gonna be part 3. I think this is a good stopping point. Just because like I'm at a spot where I was doing really well in my recovery. I got through that second time of rehab, and I was actually doing really well. I even got 2 awards going through that, and everybody like looked up to me in that rehab. I got 1 award for most likely to work in recovery, which I'm not sure if I see that. And then also most likely to stay sober for a lengthy period of time, but just like whatever, that's cool. But you know, anyways, I did really well. And so anyways, in part 4 we're gonna be going into what it looked like after having gone through rehab the second time. I ended up going to a halfway house and staying here in South Florida, and some other like hardcore shit ends up happening and stuff, and I'm excited to get into it. I'm actually gonna probably start editing part 4 right now. But with that said, I freaking love y'all. If y'all are in recovery, make sure to use this video as kind of like a meeting. I hope that y'all got something out of it and or learned from me, and don't replicate me using drugs, and just don't do drugs, period. That would be cool not to do drugs. Just don't do it. I know I'm being funny. I'm trying to, shit. Don't do drugs. And anyways, again, I love y'all. Thanks for watching my videos. Please like, subscribe, and comment just to help with the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see this and I can reach out to more people. And with that said, we will see you in part 4.